Scuba Rescue Diver. With the completion of the Advanced Scuba Diver course, you developed your personal diving skills and discovered how many enjoyable activities can be practiced in this marvelous underwater world. Statistically, most diving incidents occur due to reasons or situations that could be avoided. So by applying the appropriate preventive measures, you can make your dives with no problems at all. However, despite this, you should be prepared to deal with an emergency in the unlikely event one does occur. What is more, diving often takes place in remote areas that are often difficult for the usual emergency services to reach. Limitations of the training. The PSS Scuba Rescue Diver course is one of the best ways of learning how to prevent and deal with the risks involved in diving, within the limits of recreational diving and in environmental conditions similar to those in which your training took place. As real emergencies can occur in an infinite variety of different situations, it is not possible to give a set list of procedures, and the advice and information given does not constitute a valid legal reference. During a real emergency, you could have doubts as to what the right action to take is. Remember that any action can have both positive and negative effects, but not taking any action at all may have even more serious consequences. A practical example is the case of an unconscious diver. Bringing such a casualty to the surface quickly could cause decompression illness, but it will also ensure that, on coming round, the diver inhales air and not water, thus avoiding a much worse fate, drowning. Being able to assess the consequences of any action to take quickly is indispensable and requires a good theoretical grounding as well as practical training. But this is not all. You also have to learn how to foresee and prevent any possible situation of danger. A good way of developing your analytical skills is to ask yourself, what would I do if? Imagining every negative event that could possibly occur. Another useful exercise is sharing other divers' experiences. Analyze the circumstances, identify the correct actions that were taken and any mistakes that were made. Think of more effective alternative actions. Assess whether a more thorough dive plan could have prevented that particular emergency situation occurring. Remember that no one type of action can guarantee that a rescue will be successful. Never forget that the safety of the rescuer takes priority over every action that is taken. Otherwise, it could be 2 casualties rather than just 1 involved in the emergency. If forced to do so, you must put your own life first. Only you can decide what risks to take without compromising your own safety. Entry requirements to the course. The aim of the PSS Scuba Rescue Diver course is to teach diving-related rescue techniques. In order to enroll on the course, you must be certified as a PSS Advanced Open Water Diver or hold an equivalent qualification. In many diving emergencies, it may also be necessary to administer first aid or cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It is therefore necessary to hold a valid PSS First Aid CPR certification or, at the instructor's discretion, an equivalent qualification issued within the last 2 years. If you hold a suitable qualification issued more than 2 years ago, you will have to attend a PSS refresher program. At the end of this program, you will be issued a valid PSS First Aid CPR certification. If you do not hold a PSS First Aid CPR PSS qualification or equivalent, you may begin the PSS Scuba Rescue Diver course on condition that you do not proceed beyond Module 5 until your first aid and CPR training has been completed. The course. The PSS Scuba Rescue Diver course consists of 12 theory modules and 12 training sessions in the water. The first 3 sessions may be carried out in confined water, while the following ones must be carried out in open water. Session 8 must be made using a boat. Your instructor may also deal with more than one module or training session in a single lesson. When you have completed the theory part of the course, you have to take a final written exam. In order to pass this exam, you must answer 75% of the questions correctly. You cannot go on to the next module without having completed the previous one, and you may only do the practical sessions in the water if the corresponding theory lesson, meaning the module of the same number, has been completed. The PSS Scuba Rescue Diver course is certainly one of the most demanding in a diver's career, but it is of fundamental importance to the development of an expert diver. This is why the PSS Scuba Rescue Diver certification is also one of the indispensable requisites for enrollment in PSS professional courses. The buddy system. The buddy system is one of the essential procedures in diving safety. The help and assistance of a companion is needed to solve a variety of problems. This is why the dive buddies must stay close enough to each other that they can take action if necessary. It is important to establish a common objective for the dive and decide what to do in case of separation. The level of difficulty of the dive must always be suitable for both of the buddies. The more experienced diver must conform to the limits of the less experienced diver, and not vice versa. The feeling of team spirit between buddies is further cemented by being familiar with each other's equipment. Because the solution to many emergencies involves knowing how each other's equipment works, you must be familiar with your buddy's equipment and always carry out a buddy check before every dive. Emergency air sources. One of the reasons why the buddy system is so important is that you can share your buddy's air supply in case of emergencies. What happens in an out-of-air situation? In recreational diving, the donor usually passes their auxiliary second stage to the diver in difficulty. This choice is made in consideration that when dealing with such a situation, it is preferable for the donor to keep the main second stage in their mouth. In fact, if the donor offered the second stage they were breathing from, both the donor and the receiver would be without air at the moment of the exchange. However, if the donor's emergency second stage is integrated into the power inflator device of the buoyancy compensator, the donor will have to give the diver requesting air the second stage from which they are breathing. The auxiliary second stage should be positioned in the diver's chest area, where it can be easily reached and recognized by the diver in difficulty. The hose may be either on the left or the right of the diver. With the conventional second stage, meaning that the hose comes from the right, it is more comfortable when moving horizontally through the water while sharing, and for air-shared ascents, if the hose of the auxiliary second stage is longer than normal and passes on the left of the donor. This problem doesn't arise if a symmetrical type of second stage is used, as this works with the hose coming from either the left or the right. In consideration of the various possible configurations, it is necessary to make sure that both buddies are aware of the position of each other's auxiliary second stage before diving, and establish the ways of donating and receiving air. Emergency ascents. With good dive planning, it is unlikely that you will find yourself without air, but an unforeseen situation could arise. Finding yourself underwater without being able to breathe is a frightening experience that could become dangerous. Overcome by panic, a diver may try to rush quickly to the surface without following the usual safety procedures, with the risk of serious consequences, such as decompression illness. If you run out of air and your buddy is nearby, you can comfortably make an emergency ascent while sharing your buddy's air supply. On the other hand, if your buddy is far away, you will have to make an emergency swimming ascent. In the next module, we will see how to prevent and solve problems regarding diving equipment. We will also examine how to carry out the correct maintenance that helps prevent problems arising. See you soon.